hats, helmets, melon protectors. I'll be ranking all of the best helmets in Baldur's Gate 3 on a tier list. So we got all the very rare or higher rarity items on this list. And the first one we got here is the Grim Skull Helm, which is the first helmet that we can get of very rare or higher rarity. This is gotten from the Grim Forge. You have to fight a golem with 300 health, and it's really hard to fight. But it's worthwhile because you get this helmet, which gives you resistance to fire damage. It'll also give you the ability to not get hit by criticals, which is really nice. And in addition to that, you also get Hunter's Mark, which can give you a little bit of extra damage for some classes that may not have a concentration. This is a pretty good one, but it's not a game changer of an item. There's better items out there, but hey, for Act 1, it's actually really, really good. So I'm gonna have to say that the Grim Skull Helm is probably a B tier item. Getting resistance to fire damage is something that's very useful throughout the whole game. This potentially could go A tier, but I do know we have a lot of really, really good items here, so I don't want to overrate it or underrate it. So we're going to start here at B tier. And then next, we got ourselves, it's a range, or this one is exclusive for using on druids, and it gives you an extra wild shape. So the name of this one is the Shape Shifter Hat. It'll also give you a +1 to your nature checks, which is kind of a nice thing to get, but gives you an extra wild shape charge. And typically you're only going to get 2 wild shape charges, so that's a 50% increase, which is absolutely huge. Because if you take an owlbear form, that's like an extra 100 health, and getting free extra 100 temporary health is absolutely insane. Very useful. Now, the only thing is, I see a lot of hate towards druids on my videos, so not a lot of people like the druids, and they may disagree with my placement of this, but I think that this is probably A tier, because getting a 50% increase to your wild shape charges is huge, because that allows you as a spore druid to go into your symbiotic entity form more frequently to deal more damage. As a moon druid, you're just even tankier, and the moon druid's actually the tankiest build in this game, because when you're in your wild shape form, your armor class is lower, which attracts the enemy AI to you. So getting 3 wild shape charges and then also using up your spell slots to heal yourself, this is part of the tankiest build in the game. So I would say that is very powerful, and I would say also underrated. Some people may say it's like a F tier or roleplay tier, but an extra wild shape charge is absolutely massive if you're using a druid. Next, we have the Pyro Quickness Hat. This is one of the most interesting items on this list, because what happens is when you use a fire spell, from a leveled spell, it can't be a cantrip, you get yourself burned, which is a 1d4 fire damage each turn. On top of that, you get another bonus action, which is actually pretty nice. So let's say you're a sorcerer and you cast Fireball. Now you're on fire yourself, and you can quicken 2 more fireballs. So this allows you to cast 3 fireballs. It's actually really nice, because getting another bonus action without having to take 3 levels of rogue is just incredible. And on the right build, the Pyro Quickness Hat can actually make a big difference, because if you're a sorcerer, this is probably like one of the best hats, other than the birthright for the extra charisma. So being able to cast another spell, honestly, really good. The only downside is you do burn yourself, so it could go atop of the B tier to A tier. It does come with some downsides, but getting an extra bonus action is such an upside that I'm actually tempted to throw it in the A tier. Now, some of the best builds in this game are lightning or cold damage focused sorcerers, so there's some pretty cool interactions. So if you have ice on the floor, you can hit it with fire and it'll turn into water, and then hit it again, and you'll apply wet to everyone, so they become vulnerable to your lightning and cold damage spells. So with this, you could drop 2 fireballs, and with that extra bonus action, drop a chain lightning. It's pretty good if you ask me, because that's just giving yourself the potential to deal 160 damage with your lightning spells, in addition to 2 fireballs that you can drop. So yeah, it's really good for burst damage. Next, we got the Shapeshifter Mask. Now, this is actually really good because you get it. This is technically, I guess, the first item you can get. It's for Deluxe Edition users. So what this does is it gives you a free disguise self spell, which is honestly pretty good, because there's times in the game, let's say you wanted to use Speak with the Dead. You could use this to be able to talk to them, because they won't talk to you if you kill them. In addition, you can also use this to get the bonuses to Gith weapons. So if you steal the sword from Voss in Act 1, you can turn into a Gith with this and get all those extra benefits. That nice 1d6 of psychic damage is all yours with this. However, it's mostly a roleplay focused helmet, so I am going to put it in the roleplay tier. Not that it's bad, it's actually very good, but you're not going into combat wearing this big chunk of metal on your head. So I'm throwing in the roleplay tier just for that reason, because it's mostly just for when you're doing roleplay focused things. So you won't oftentimes keep this equipped. really ever unless you're talking to someone. Next, we got the Hood of the Weave. So this gives you a +2 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. So on any caster, this is actually really good. Typically, Gale would be the one using this. He's going to... Wizards don't have that extra usage of a bonus action like the Pyro Quickness hat would give. So the +2 spell save DC means you're more likely to hit your hold persons, your crowd control spells, and then also the increased attack rolls means you're likely to hit Scorch and Ray more frequently. So it's really good. +2. I might just put it in the B tier because I feel like there are some other items that are much better. However, actually, this may go A tier because you're going to end up probably using this quite frequently as if you have Gale on your team or any other wizard that or warlock even. A sorcerer oftentimes will be more benefited from going with the Pyro Quickness hat or the Birthright for +2 to Charisma. So it's A tier to B tier, just depends on like your build, I guess. As far as helmets go though, it's a pretty good one. I might just put a B tier to keep it balanced. Someone may disagree on that, but it could be A tier. With any of these, they could go up or down depending on your builds, and there's a lot of variables at play with Baldur's Gate 3, let's be honest. Next, we got the Mask of Soul Perception. So this is actually like underrated. Gives a +2 to attack rolls. Nice, more hit chance. But +2 to initiative rolls is the big thing that I love about this helmet. And it also gives you increased perception check, or +2 to perception checks, and it also gives you detect thoughts. So this is a really good one to have on the face of your party because you'll get that free detect thoughts. In addition, you'll also get increased hit chance for the attack rolls and initiative. I think that this is an S tier helmet because getting any increase to your initiative is very massive, but also getting a +2 to your attack rolls, that can help you offset Great Weapon Master or even offset Sharpshooter. So that can be good, and just having a higher hit chance is always something nice you want. So yeah, I'm going to put it in the S tier because it's just so useful to have a higher chance of going first and being able to hit your attacks. It can't be understated how important initiative is in Baldur's Gate 3, but also getting an increased attack roll is pretty good too. Next, we got the Janath's hat. Advantage on persuasion checks, advantage on deception checks. Woo! Not really amazing. It's probably like a role play tier, but I'm going to put in C tier. Yeah, it's typically just for like if you're talking to someone. If you have the Warlock, you can take the Beguiling Influence, which will give you advantage on these checks. So you could also just take that. Or you get proficiency in those checks, my bad, not advantage. So this is not bad, but also it's situational. If you know that you have a persuasion check coming up, throw this fancy looking hat on, but that's about it. Next, we got the, what is it? The Assassin of Baal Cowl. So, looks like the Hood of the Weave, but this gives you Murderous Sight, which gives you a whopping 3 meters of dark vision. Which is not that great. That's literally the distance of a fart. Like, you can't see anything with that. But it also gives a +2 to initiative rolls, and it also gives you see invisibility as a spell. So, it is quite good. Because, again, initiative rolls are really nice, and getting the ability to see a little bit further is actually quite nice. I actually may move this up and put it right about here, somewhere around there. The big bonus is the initiative and the see invisibility spell, which is kind of nice to have. Although I like to give Volo the opportunity to try and get the Mind Flare Parasite out and get that free invisibility eye. So yeah, B tier. Next we got Saravok's helm, and this is a pretty good one. So this is obviously one of the last helmets you're going to get. So that has to be taken into consideration, but this also gives you that stinky 3 meters of dark vision, or 15 if you already have it. So yeah, if you're dark vision, you got a little bit of dark vision, you can get 3 meters more of it. So typically classes that have half dark vision will have 12 meters, so this gives you 3 more meters. Not huge, but hey, it's a nice addition to something you already have. The number you need to roll a critical hit is reduced by 1. That's huge. There's no other helmet that can give that. Actually, there is another. Yeah, this with all the benefits is the best helmet that gives that. So any chance you can get to increase your critical hit chance works great on crit fishing builds. You also can't be frightened and cannot be afflicted with any other emotion altering condition. So like charmed, for example. And you get a +1 to Constitution saving throws. That is another huge thing because Constitution saving throws are pretty much every concentration check in the game is Constitution saving throw proficiency. So this can go really good. It does kind of spread things out though, because you got the critical hits, and then you also have the Constitution saving throw proficiency. So this goes good on like a Warlock, Pact of the Blade. It would be fantastic. Ceravoc's Helm, I would say, is probably... It's probably top of the A tier. I don't know if it's got enough to make it S tier. If it had a bit more dark vision or had a +2 Constitution saving throw proficiency, the critical hit's really nice. It does provide a lot of benefits, so it's probably S tier, I would say. Although you do get it late in the game, so I think that's why I was trying to put it in A tier. So yeah, Ceravoc's Helm. Next, we got the Helmet of Grit, and this is a fun one because when you have less than 50% health, you get an additional bonus action, which is similar to the Pyro Quickness Hat. Bonus actions are very nice. I think that this is top of the A tier. This goes great on like a Berserker Barbarian where you, like if you're a throw Zerker, getting an extra throw when you're below 50% health, and Barbarians have great amount of resistances. Yeah, I think it actually is really nice because anytime you can get another bonus action, Sender. It's awesome. That's why a lot of people dip Rogue Thief, because that extra bonus action is just so worthwhile. This also works great on a Monk, too, because you can do another Flurry of Blows. Any class that really has a great use for their bonus action would benefit from this. I wouldn't say that it'd be amazing on, like, a Sorcerer, because you'll lose your Sorcerer. It's a light armor, so you do end up losing your unarmored defense, I guess. Oh, I guess, yeah, that makes it a little bit less great for Barbarians. And Monks, even, too. But it's still decent. Get that plus 50% health points. Or when you're below 50% health points, you get that extra bonus action. Can bring a lot to certain builds. But next, we have the Birthright Hat. This is purchased from the Sorceress Sundries in Act 3. +2 to Charisma. And it says, the tooltip says upwards of 22 Charisma. Now, if you use the Mirror of Loss and gave yourself a +2 to Charisma, you can actually get up to 24. So S tier, because it's the only way you can get 24 charisma. Actually, I might put it at the very top of the S tier. Getting a 24 in charisma is massive, because if you're like a Pact of the Blade Warlock, that means you have a really high hit chance. Or if you're using the Infernal Rapier, high hit chance. If you're a Sorcerer, if you're a Bard, if you're a Warlock, if you're a Paladin, you got great hit chance. Or you got a great spell casting modifier. I'm a big fan of Sorcerers. I think they're the best spellcaster in the game. This benefits them. I'm also a big fan of Sword Bards, which I think are the best like damaging class in the game, and crowd control. They benefit from this. Once you get this fancy looking hat, you're probably not taking it off at least one of your characters, so it's definitely S tier. Next, we have the Horns of the Berserker. Now, this is typically you would not put this on anything but a Barbarian. You'd be silly to not put it on a Barbarian. Gives you a +2 to attack rolls when attacking creatures that already have taken damage. So just a higher hit chance on those. And also you get the Bloodthirst. So unarmed and melee attacks deal an additional 2 necrotic damage as long as you don't have your full health. If you don't deal any damage this turn, you take necrotic damage. So it kind of works with the whole Berserker's ideology. It's not really amazing. Dealing additional 2 damage is great. Any damage rider is awesome. But necrotic damage is resisted like by everything. And yeah, you do take damage if you don't deal damage. So, yeah, I would probably say C tier because it's just not as good as the other helmets on here. You're actually on a Barbarian. You're probably better off using one of the other ones that I talked about here. Next, we got the Helldusk helmet. And this one looks funny. It gives you like that Dark Warrior look. But it gives you the Infernal Sight, so you can see in magical... You can see in a magical and ordinary darkness up to a meter, 12 meters. So some of these give you dark vision, but not magical dark vision. There's only a couple ways to be able to see in magic darkness. Warlock, Devil's Sight at level 3 or 5 will give you that. Or taking this Helldusk helmet, which will give you up to 12 meters and 24 for the Warlock. You also cannot be blinded. So this works well if you wanted to run with like a blindness build. It gives a +2 to saving throws against spells. Can't be critical hit, and you get an Immolating Glaze as a weapon action, or a class action. I would say this is S tier. Honestly, being able to see in darkness is great. Being able to get a +2 to saving throws against spells means you're going to be more likely to resist them. Can't be critical hit. Enough said, this is a really great helmet overall. Many benefits, no real downside. Next, we got another helmet, Bone Spike helmet. This is another Berserker Barbarian. A little bit better than the Horns of Berserker, I think, because when you rage, creatures within 3 meters, so that little small distance. Well, it's not a bad distance because the Barbarians can be up close. They must succeed a Wisdom saving throw or take 2 to 8 psychic damage, which can be doubled with the Resonant Stone. Woohoo! And they also take half damage on a save, so you're dealing damage regardless. +2 to intimidation, which is more so just a roleplay feature. And then you also get menacing attack, which is from the Battle Master Fighter. Menacing attack is probably the best Battle Master maneuver. It can cause frightened on the target, which means that they are basically useless their next turn. I would say the Bone Spike helmet's really good. It's really nice. I'd probably say B tier though. Like it's only usable on a Barbarian, and I would say it's a little bit better in the Horns of the Berserker. So yeah, B tier for that reason there. Next, we got one of the best helmets with the Helm of Baldur. So this is actually one of the last helmets you'll probably get, but it pairs well with a lot of things. It's medium armor, so you need the proficiency for that, but it heals you for 2 at the start of your turn. What's nice about that healing is if you have the gauntlets that applies Blade Ward, there's 2 sets of gauntlets that'll give Blade Ward to people that you heal. You'll continually keep getting Blade Ward at the start of your turns. Woo! If you also have the ring that adds Bless when you heal someone, you'll also get Bless at the start of your turn. So you can legit just get Bless and Blade Ward from this helmet by equipping other pieces of gear, which is really, really great. In addition, you also get a +1 to armor class. This is the only helmet that adds to your armor class. Awesome. And it also gives you +1 to saving throws, which is also great. You can't be stunned, which is also great. And then you can't be critical hit. This is probably the best helmet in the game. I'm going to put it in the S tier because it is seriously just so good. So yeah, that brings a lot of benefit with no downside. It heals you. It can give you immunities. It's really, really great. Next, we got the Dark Justiciar helmet. So this is another one that you can get in Act 2. So it's a little bit of an earlier helmet than some of the rest of these. So it gives you a +1 to saving throws against spells, which is, again, nice to have saving throws. But this is only against spells. Convert critical, the number you need to roll a critical hit while attacking is reduced by 1. So as I mentioned, there's other helmets, but the Saravox helm is like the better version of this. And then a +1 to Constitution saving throws. So it's basically Saravox helmet, but not as good. I would say it's probably A tier because of when you get it. It's a little bit earlier in the game, so you're typically going to get a good amount of use out of it. Although this helmet is ugly, straight up ugly. So turn off the appearance. It's my little tip. But it could also potentially be a B tier, I guess, because Saravox helm is just better. Finally, we got the Circlet of Hunting. So this gives you Hunter's Eye, which gives an additional 1d4 to attack rolls against creatures that are marked with Hunter's Mark, True Strike, Fairy Fire, and Guiding Bolt. So it can work on some builds. Like if you apply Hunter's Mark, you could get a little bit extra of an attack roll against it. True Strike, Fairy Fire, Guiding Bolt, etc. If you got someone constantly using Guiding Bolt, this can give you a little bit of an extra chance to hit. However, Guiding Bolt's going to give you an advantage on your attack roll anyway, so I actually feel like this one is just another lackluster helmet. Probably put it the lowest C tier because you get it kind of late in the game, and it doesn't bring as much benefit as a lot of the other helmets here. So yeah, that is the best helmets in Baldur's Gate 3 ranked on a tier list. I may in the future do one with all the helmets, just there's a crap ton of them. You can see here, there's quite a few from just the very rare and legendary helmets alone. So lots of options, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always really enjoy the commentary that we have around these. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this video fun, please hit that subscribe button below. I appreciate your support, and thank you so much for watching.